Do you want to be? Now, depending on what version you have, you got an older version, King James, do you want to be made whole? Some others will say, do you want to be, I think some say healed. Some say, do you want to be made well? Pretty much the same thing. He puts it in the man's court. Now, a logically thinking person would say, why even ask the question, Jesus? He's at the place of grace, meaning he's already expecting somebody to do something for him. People that were well didn't hang out at the pool of Bethesda. The people believed in their day and time, and even if it was superstition, as some people believe in that day, that an angel would come down and stir the water. And the reality is that they also found this stream that ran under the pool. So apparently at some point in time, at certain seasons, that stream would break through into the pool and begin to bubble. Well, the people thought that that was the angel coming down. So who are we to sit here in 2006 and say, yes, it was, or no, it wasn't? And yet, here's this man sitting there, and Jesus asked him what, if you look at it on the surface, seems to be a silly question. Do you want to be made whole? Well, yeah. I've been sitting here 38 years. That's like me walking up to you and saying, do you really want $1 million? Well, what fool? No, that's okay. I'm okay. So Jesus asked the question. Jesus always asks questions. Do you want to be made well? Do you want to be made whole? So here's the question now. What has you crippled? Now, don't sit here and answer, because you can't trust everybody with your stuff. What has you crippled? You think in your own mind. What has limited your mobility? What's been keeping you down? What is it that has been holding you back? What has you stuck where you are and you just can't seem to move? What is it that has you paralyzed? What is your infirmity? What is your malady? What is your sickness? What has infected you? Is it how other people see you? That infects a lot of people. And as a result of that, is it how you see yourself? Because a lot of us see ourselves based on some image that somebody else projected onto us. How do you see you? Because we often begin to behave in the context of how we see ourselves. Have you been emotionally damaged? Because a lot of our brothers are damaged. All of us have some level of damage. Something somebody said, something somebody did years ago as a child. And now, because of that damage, I have a hard time progressing and being all I really could be in my future. Who damaged you? Who has somebody hurt you? And somebody you trusted. And so now in your adulthood, because you remember the pain and you remember how open you were back then, and you let somebody in and they hurt you, and now you don't let too many people get in there. Because you made a promise to yourself that nobody is ever going to get in there again and nobody is ever going to hurt me again. So now you got this wall up. So that people who really do love you, that you really can trust, they can't even get in. And you're in there all by yourself suffering, rehearsing and replaying the pain that you went through way back then, 38 years ago, 20 years ago, when you was 15, when you was 14, when your mother left you at somebody else's house and something happened to you that you can't even talk about. The fact that y'all get quiet means I'm hitting somebody in here. Has somebody robbed you of your self-esteem? Does somebody continually tell you how stupid you were? Continually curse at you? Continually tell you how dumb you were and that you would never amount to anything? You come home with a B and all they can say is, well, when are you going to get an A? You get a 98 on your paper. Well, you can do better. People never encouraged you, never helped you to go further, never pushed you a little further, but never celebrated what you had achieved. And after a while, if you never get any celebration over your achievement, you start to think achievement is not all it's cracked up to be. Who let you down? Who shortchanged you? Who took advantage of your vulnerability? Somebody you trusted, and yet they took advantage of that trust. Robbed you of something. Who scarred you emotionally and even mentally? Who wasn't there for you? That was supposed to be there. It was their responsibility to be there to guide you through your adolescence, to guide you through your childhood, but they left you by yourself. Who abandoned you? And now that you older, you say, ain't no big thing. I'm a man now. It don't matter to me. But when you get off by yourself, and when you finally get married and you don't know how to be affectionate to your wife and she starts complaining about that and you get upset because you feel like somebody wants you to do something that you're not equipped to do, then you get frustrated. Am I talking to anybody in here? Who abandoned you? Who betrayed your trust? Have you allowed your environment to get inside of you? So that depending on what environment you find yourself in the most consistently, you allow that to get inside of you, so that because everybody else is selling drugs, I need to sell some too. And because everybody else is doing drugs, I need to do drugs too. Because everybody else at school and work is running around sleeping with anybody who's willing and able, I'm going to do the same thing too. Have you allowed your environment to get inside of you? Everybody else goes to clubs to have a good time, so maybe I need to go to a club to have a good time. Everybody else around me is a homosexual, so maybe I ought to try it. What have you allowed to get inside of you? And here's a big question. This is probably the biggest one. Are you in your own way? See, because we can grow up and blame everybody for why we are the way we are. My mama always said this about me, so I can blame her. My daddy was never there for me, so I can blame him. In the school district, they let me down. They didn't educate me the way they should. The church wasn't open to me. They only wanted people with suits and ties. I mean, we can always blame somebody else, but the real question is, are you in your own way? Are you crippling yourself? Are you paralyzing yourself? And you know how you can be in your own way? Simply by your own thought process. Think about it. Are you chasing after love and approval from somebody that ain't never going to give you love and approval? Are you always getting involved with the wrong people? That's your choice, not their choice. Are you procrastinating your life away? Are you expecting everybody to just understand how you feel? Are you getting so angry that you start to make things worse? You can't even control your own anger? Are you holding grudges? Are you accepting stuff from people and thinking that there is no price tag connected to that? Are you always the person that has to be right? You can never be wrong. You always your own man. You don't need anybody else. You're always focusing on what everybody else is doing wrong. I'm telling you, you probably are standing in your own way. Are you not learning from your mistakes? You run from one woman to the next and you think the problem is all the women. Nope, the problem could be you with your wannabe player self. It's probably you. You're not learning from your mistakes. You're trying to change people to fit your warped way of thinking. You're rebelling for no other reason but because you think you're a man. And by the way, because you wear boxers doesn't make you a man. Women wear boxers today. And there are some women that's more man. Well, never mind. You talking when the right folk are not listening to you, pretending you're